Hello COM4806ers. Welcome to this video tutorial on assignment 1. What we will do quickly in this tutorial is to cover some of the basics of assignment 1, and then I would like to take you through some tips and tricks regarding how to understand what we want from you in this assignment, how you should start and go about reading for this assignment, and then lastly a bit of advice on how to write this assignment. In the live broadcast session of the 24th of May, please check your MyUnisa schedule for the exact details. We will cover similar topics, but please send your questions to me in the meanwhile on email or on MyUnisa, so that I can have a better idea what you guys are struggling with. And please attend the live broadcast to come and ask your new questions during the session. All right, now for assignment 1, those of you who have taken this module in the past will see that it's completely different this year than in past years. We are in a process of transforming a lot of our work in the department, and this is an example of one of the transformed modules. So for all of us, it's a new module. And for those of you who are taking this for the first time, you are actually quite lucky, because taking a module with new content means that you get more up-to-date information and more up-to-date teaching that should provide you with a better idea for the rest of your postgraduate studies or inform your other modules better. All right, now the basics of this assignment is, let's turn back. The due date is the last day of this month, 31st of May. The unique assignment number is in your tutorial letter 101 as well as on the screen now. In terms of length, in the assignment itself, we give you a very clear idea of what we need in terms of the length of your essays. So between 700 and 1,000 words per essay for 4 essays, meaning a total word count of between 2,800 and 4,000 words. Now, if you use Arial 12 points in 1.5 spacing, you will end up writing something like 3 pages or almost 3 pages per essay, meaning 3, 6, 9, 12 pages roundabout for your content part of your assignment 1. So it's a lot of writing, but the long style makes it easier because you are writing out arguments and not just short answers. Okay, and remember, for all honors modules from this year going forth, the Turnitin report is your assignment. So you must submit your full assignment with the cover page and the list of table of contents and the list of sources at the end to Turnitin. Download a PDF of your full report and then submit that PDF as your assignment. Just about the more serious deductions and penalties we are going to use in marking your assignments. If you don't have a declaration of your own work, you will get a 0. If you don't have a list of sources, if you don't have in-text references, and if you don't have that Turnitin, you will have 0 for assignment 1. In all of those 4 cases, the 4 0 cases, we will not even comment on your assignment because it's a legality for us to have that declaration that it is your own work before we are able to comment on your work. If you don't reference your sources and you don't use in-text references, it is almost like not having a declaration, because you don't tell us where you got your information from, and you will not even receive comments on your work if you transgress these 4 big things. Then Turnitin penalties are also quite different from last year. If you have taken honors modules last year, we won't use the percentage scales we did in the past to deduct for similarity. We are going to look at the actual similarity, because in some cases, on the positive side, you will find that some words that come from the assignment itself, like from a scenario, or in our case, when we call something, for instance, the positivist and post-positivist paradigmatic position, I guess a lot of us will be using that phrase in our work, and that is not actually showing similarity to other texts in a way that you took it from somewhere else. It is merely because it is contained in the assignment itself. Some subject terminologies work like that, and in some instances, similarity indicated in the text isn't real similarity. It's not really that you have too much overlap with a text that is written by someone else. So this way we will eliminate deducting marks for unnecessary things, but also it became clear to us that the way that we used to do it made you guys think that if you can copy from somewhere else without properly referencing or without using your own words, just if you do it to a small enough degree. And that is simply not good enough. If you steal something small, it is still theft. It doesn't make it a different type of transgression. So the fact is that you can be found to have stolen from someone else's text even if you only use a small piece of their work. It still could constitute plagiarism. So we are actually going to look at what it is that is similar to other texts. The penalties we are going to lodge will be between 20% and 100%, depending on how much similarity your work shows. So please, if you did use text from another source, make sure that your Turnitin is correct. Make changes based on your submission to Turnitin to reformulate sentences or something that might be similar to other texts, to keep yourself safe from these penalties. Okay, enough about that. So what do we want from you in assignment 1? Okay, it's clear from the question, we want 4 essays from you. Now don't be scared at the word essay. Essay is just a long style answer that is written in paragraph format, and the whole thing forms a cohesive unit. We are asking about these 4 essays for 4 paradigmatic positions. You can also see these as like worldview groups, because they are groups of worldviews that are in the minds of some scholars and philosophers, could be slightly different from one another, but they show some overlap, or they are used in similar circumstances, or they have a similar context that they are suitable for in social research. So we group these 4 positions, some things together to form 4 paradigmatic positions, and also stipulated in the assignment, but here just in a bullet form to make it a bit easier for you. What we want in each essay is for you to cover the philosophical principles of a paradigmatic position, the assumptions, that's the ontological, epistemological, axiological, and methodological assumptions, differences between the different ideas in each grouping. So for instance, for the first one, positivism and post-positivism, in that section you will cover the differences between positivism and post-positivism, what they have in common with one another, and so on, because different people have different ideas about what these things mean and whether they are one grew from the other, for instance, or something like that. And then the last 2 points, you should cover the theoretical approaches associated with that paradigmatic position, as well as the methodological approaches associated with each paradigmatic position. So those 5 bullets are what you should include in each essay. Those are almost like the criteria. Okay, now to read for this assignment. It's very important because this assignment, the other assignments that come later, assignment 2 and 3, have a stronger application component, but this one is almost purely theoretical. So a reading is what you should be doing for assignment 1. You might find also a lot of sources on some of the paradigmatic groupings like positivism, post-positivism, interpretivism, constructivism. If you've done this module in the past, you will know that that used to be part of this module. There's a lot written about those. You might find less sources on transformative or emancipatory worldviews and on decolonial, indigenous, and post-colonial research. But we have done a lot of work to get your recommended and reserved reading in line with what you actually need to read for this module. So start there. If you read, even if you just read the recommended and reserved sources, you'll be able to do this assignment. Of course, reading more widely will be beneficial to you, but if you only read those, you will find enough information to do assignment 1 and to cover all of the paradigmatic groupings, even though less information is available in general on some of them than on others. Then I have done you guys a favor to give you a starting point for your reading. These chapters I list here, they are recommended and reserved for this module. They will really help you get a grip on what these paradigmatic positions are all about. I'm not saying that you can base your whole thing only on them, but if you read these chapters and if you use them, you will be 80% done with this assignment, because the details covered in these chapters are so useful, and that is what we used when we built the foundation for the memorandum for this assignment. So do yourself a favor and get these chapters as your starting reading list, a starting point, not necessarily the end point. All the reading is important, and the more you read, the richer your work will be. But if you start with these chapters, I promise you will end up with a much greater understanding of what is going on in this module. All right, now, an essay is not a spoon-feeding type of exercise. It's more of a test in academic writing as well. But there's a simple way to approach this, right? And for me, when I have to write an essay or a longer style answer, what works best is that firstly use the word count or the page count that you are supposed to use as a guide to help you plan your answer before you start writing it. Then looking at the criteria set in the assignment, and those are those 5 bullet points in a previous that you saw on a previous slide. Use those to create subsections in your essay. An essay doesn't mean it's just one piece of writing. You can use subsections. So do that. Use the criteria as your subsections to help you create structure and plan your answer before you start writing it. Then what I do is I copy and paste or I make notes from my reading about relevant pieces of information. So for instance, if you read those chapters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chapters that I have jotted down here, you will find in Bubby, you will find information on positivism and post-positivism. In Creswell, you will find. In Chalisa, you will find, and so on. And make shorter notes indicating the reference details, like the source you found it and the page number it's on, under each subheading as you go along. Or if you are working on screen, you can copy and paste little quotes from there. These are not a final, that's just rough work, so copy and pasting is allowed because you are going to reformulate completely. Then use these notes and use your copy and paste sections of the relevant info that you have after all your reading under your subsections. And then from that, you start creating your own argument, because it's narrowed down by that point. You have like a collection of relevant information under each subheading, and you can start in your own words to write a flowing argument from all the pieces of information that you have collected from your reading. And then at the end, once you have something drafted out, check the word count, check the argument whether it makes sense, check the technical things of language and academic writing, references and so on. And then you have a first draft written out. What I've done here is to give you a brief or a suggestion in terms of how such an essay could be structured. Of course, the word count there is not right. You will see that the text written in there gives you an idea of what you must include under each section. And what I suggest you do is that you divide the word count into those 5 subheadings or subsections for each paradigmatic position, so that you have an equal distribution of giving attention to the different subsections you must include in every essay. So writing a section of 150 to 200 words per subsection, and in each subsection covering the specific details that must be in there. Read on your screen what I mean. Then you are so much closer to having a completed essay. And from the inquiries I've been getting, it seems like writing an essay feels like it's a huge job. It's really not. It's an interesting academic exercise that gives you the chance to argue and to write out something logical and something that makes sense at the end of it, not an answer based on a scenario or something that is shorter or simpler. This is really showing whether you can interpret your reading and whether you understand these philosophical underpinnings of social research. All right, important things to remember for assignment 1. For the technical requirements, please read tutorial letter 301 and the additional resources on my UNISA that shows you referencing and academic writing things as the TL 301 indicates. You can also visit this website, Writing for Academic Integrity. It was created a couple of years ago by members of staff here at the Department of Communication Science, and it has short videos, so you can find almost any technical information of how to present your assignment in this tutorial site. And then there's my contact details. If there's anything specific, please feel free to email me. Email is probably the best. I answer relatively quickly, and it's easier as on my than on my UNISA because I can see a question coming in. All right, guys, all the best with writing assignment 1. Together with this video, I will also post some short introductory videos on each of the paradigmatic positions to give you an idea, just a quick tutorial of what each paradigm means to get you started. All right, all the best with your writing, and I hope to see you at the live broadcast. Okay, bye.